Okay. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. Very excited about the talk tonight for a number of reasons. It's pretty much the content of a book that I have coming out in about a month. And also, I just got back from Peru, so you're going to be seeing some pictures that were taken on my trip. So I'm excited to share those with the world. So when we're talking about the new year, a lot of times people have New Year's resolutions. And the New Year's resolutions kind of never come to fruition. And so we have goal setting. And a lot of times the goals we set don't come to fruition either. Well, there's a term in yoga that's called drishti. Has anybody heard of that term? Okay, it's a Sanskrit word, and it has a lot of different meanings. One of the meanings that I like is gazing outward while your attention is inward. And I like thinking about this when we're thinking about what you want to accomplish for this coming year and setting up your year for success and happiness and health and enlightenment. So this here is a picture of my son actually doing floating lotus. And to do a pose like this, you have to be focused outward, but also focused inward at the same time. And so when we're thinking about goals, I want you to think of something that you'd like to accomplish this coming year. Whether it's something health related where, maybe you want to get your digestion under control and operating correctly, or, change your weight or get rid of hot flashes. So you always want to be looking outward at what's going on outward, but at the same time looking inward. And that's the way that we can bring congruence to our lives. So just take a moment and think, what's your drishti? What is it? What is it that you want to accomplish? And think of it in terms of that, uniting the outward with the inward. So tonight we're talking about enlightenment, and this is one of the favorite quotes that I found with regard to enlightenment. And it says, enlightenment is a destructive process. It has nothing to do with becoming better or being happier. It's the crumbling away of untruth. It's seeing through the facade of pretense. It's the complete eradication of everything that we believed to be true. Now, and this, right, by the way, is a picture of Machu Picchu, which was the destination of my Peru trip. Said a different way by Mark Twain, he says, it ain't what you don't know that gets you into trouble. It's what you know for sure that just ain't so. And so when we think about this, especially when we're talking about health, there's a lot of misconceptions out there in health and nutrition that we believe them so vehemently to be true, but they're just not so. And so we have to keep that open mind to crumble away the untruth so that the truth then becomes evident. So when I look at enlightenment, another definition is the full comprehension of a situation. And it's also an awareness of the moment. And we hear a lot of people talking about this, living in the moment and appreciating what's going on in the moment. But any definition that you choose for enlightenment, you might have your own definition. It always comes back to the health of your brain and the health of your mind. You're never going to become enlightened or achieve any enlightened state if you have an unhealthy brain or an unhealthy mind. And there's so many paths to enlightenment. A lot of people focus on prayer, which I incorporate, meditation, reflection. These are all different paths to enlightenment. But one thing that I think is particularly lacking is focusing on what's going on actually with our mind. Another tool is to look at what we eat and why we eat it. Again, if you don't have a healthy brain, you're never going to achieve enlightenment. You're never going to have the crumbling away of the untruth. And it's my belief that eating is the most intimate and spiritual thing that you can do. And the reason why is because whatever it is that you consume, if it's water or soda, if it's McDonald's or if it's a fresh piece of fruit, that is going to become you. That's becoming your body. That's becoming your brain. That's becoming your blood. That's becoming your neurotransmitters. That's becoming who you are. So what we eat plays a critical role in our path to enlightenment. Again, the foods and the beverage, they are the building blocks of our body. And we've heard it said a million times, you are what you eat. And it's so true. And not just eat physically, it's in your mind. What is your mind consuming? What are the thoughts going on in your mind and in your heart? And what are you ruminating on and what kind of emotions are being stirred up? So we need to look at everything that we're consuming. So if you look at the body, every 35 days, your skin replaces itself. Your liver takes about a month. And your body makes all these new cells from the foods that we eat. So different organs replace themselves at different rates. But we're always becoming new. So again, we really need to pay attention to what we are eating. So again, in the quest for enlightenment, it's critical to pay attention to what you eat. What you eat does matter. So neurotransmitters. Neurotransmitters are what causes the communication between the cells, and it impacts your entire life. It impacts whether you're able to sleep. And how many people have had a horrible night's sleep and then the next day they're irritable? Anybody? So, we don't want to have those feelings. We don't want that irritability. But if you're not able to sleep, that's going to be a consequence. Neurotransmitters affect your emotional health. Again, if your emotions are off kilter, it's going to affect everything. It's going to affect the quality of your life. And neurotransmitters in the brain health also affects whether you get diabetes and heart disease and Alzheimer's and all sorts of other conditions. So it's, again, really important to focus on what are we consuming so that our body has the best building blocks to build a healthy brain and a healthy mind. So the things that affect the brain are like too many to list, but a few of them is fluoride. Fluoride is killer. What it does is it calcifies your pineal gland. And studies have shown that the pineal gland is the portal to spirituality. And if your pineal gland is being calcified, it makes that kind of transition to spirituality much more difficult. So eliminating fluoride from all sources. So the most pervasive source, of course, is drinking water. Our water systems, our municipalities put fluoride in the water. Most water filters don't remove the fluoride. So it's important, if you do have filtered water, to look and see what's going on with that filter. Does it filter out the fluoride? Of course, toothpaste, mouthwash, things of that nature Also, a lot of children's vitamins. I know when my children were babies, the doctor had given me a prescription for vitamins, and it was fluoride vitamins. So make sure that you don't have fluoride coming into your body. One of the things that a lot of times we don't think about is the drinks that we consume. So if you go get a Starbucks coffee, for example, chances are it's going to be made with fluoridated water. So if you go and buy tea from the grocery store, it's made from bottled water. It's made from water that is fluoride based or has fluoride in it. So there's a lot of things out there that we don't really think about where we're going to get fluoride in our systems. So take a moment and think about what items you consume and try and eliminate the fluoride from your body. Alcohol. Alcohol also affects the brain. I mean, everybody knows about alcohol and the effects it has on the brain, but it's going to affect the health of the neurotransmitters and the health of the brain. So it's important to look at what you're consuming as far as alcohol. Smoking, of course, affects the brain, but one of the biggest toxins is things like MSG. And MSG there's so many hidden forms of MSG. And Dr. Bergman has a list of ingredients that you might find on a package. It won't say MSG. It'll have some other code name, hydrolyzed yeast, or, just some different names on there. So you can also get that list from me as well. But you want to look at the ingredients on whatever packaged food that you buy, because these things are deadly. The MSG, what it does is it excites the brain cells to such a degree, and it causes cell death. So it's critical to eliminate MSG from your diet. Things like aspartame as well. These also have been shown to kill the brain cells. And again, how are you going to reach enlightenment? How are you going to have this full, wonderful life if your brain is damaged? The other thing is mercury and dental amalgams. So look at what you have actually in your mouth. And that's another critical thing too. We want to make sure that we eliminate heavy metals. So mercury from amalgams, but also what kind of fish are you eating if you're eating fish? You want to make sure it's a clean type of fish so that you don't get mercury from your food. So I like this little cartoon. And what it is, it's a doctor telling the patient, don't worry about the chemicals from the food because it's an eensy-beensy, tiny bit. And don't worry about the chemicals from vaccines because it's such a tiny, tiny amount. And we have the woman here saying, doctor, don't you understand about, addition? Every little tiny bit that you consume of one thing is compounded with the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. So be food smart. It's really important to really focus on what foods you are consuming. Now, I've talked to you about this before, but the foods that we want to incorporate are the highest vibrational foods out there. A few other high vibration foods are goji berries. And I love goji berries because goji berries, you can just take them with you as a snack. You can, keep them in your purse or in your car, and you can snack on them throughout the day. But they're very high vibration foods, and they're very nutrient dense. When you look at foods with the deep, rich pigments, those are the foods that you want. Those are the foods that are going to have the micronutrients, the best bang for your buck. And then raw cacao. I'm a big fan of raw chocolate. And this is another food that's very, very nutrient dense, and it has an effect to lift your mood. So, it's giving you the nutrients that you need, but it also has the effect of lifting your mood. And so when you eat, you want to make sure that you eat with gratitude. Because again, you're not just consuming the food, in your belly, it's what thoughts are going into your mind. So, when you eat those nutrient-rich foods, think about the food that you're consuming. Be grateful for that food. Think about, the people that you love in your life. And it just enhances the whole eating experience. So another tool to utilize in our path to enlightenment is detoxification. And it's really important to start developing a detoxification lifestyle. And this is something that I find that has been transformative for me, is developing that as a lifestyle. So a few things about toxins. First of all, they're everywhere. You cannot get away from toxins. They may be stored in your fat cells, and your body produces them just as a normal part of metabolic processes. And so what we need to do is develop this lifestyle so that we can constantly be detoxing the waste products from the metabolic processes. And if we don't, degenerative diseases can result. And that's something that we all are trying to avoid. Nobody wants to grow old and get some degenerative disease. So making sure that we're able to eliminate the toxins is critical. And one of the main things in developing this lifestyle is paying attention to your gut health and your digestive system. If you're not able to assimilate, then your body's not going to have the building blocks to build, the brain and the heart and the blood and whatever it's trying to make. And the other thing is, if it's not able to eliminate, you're going to toxify yourself. So digestion is key on both sides. It helps with the assimilation, and it helps with the elimination. And then, of course, your thoughts. You don't want to be eating and being very upset and angry about what happened at work during the day. That is not gonna benefit you at all. Take a deep breath, let it go. Don't let, things that have happened to you have that kind of power over you. It's not worth it. The other thing is looking at what's going on with your personal care products. So 33% of personal care products out there have ingredients that are directly linked to cancer. And 45% contain ingredients that are shown to be harmful to your reproductive or fetal development. I mean, this is crazy. This is products that young girls put on every single day. And, you see the young girls, they're all excited. They're wearing their new lip gloss, and they're putting on these perfumed lotions and using perfumed soaps, and they're estrogenic. And it's going to have an impact. 60% of personal care products, what they do is they contain ingredients that are estrogen hormone disruptors. And these aren't just, the pretty smelling, lip glosses and shampoos and lotions. These are things that men use as well. So it's really important to pay attention to what products you're putting on your body. So there was a Nobel Prize winner, Alexis Carrel, and what this guy did is a research project where he got chicken cells, and I think they were the chicken heart cells, and he put them in a petri dish, and his theory was if they got the nutrients and were able to get rid of the metabolic waste, that they would live. Well, the cells in this petri dish lived for over 27 years, and they actually outlived Dr. Carrel. the experiment ended after he had passed away. And he was able to prove that if you give the cells the nutrients that they need and you let them get rid of the metabolic waste, that these cells will live in perpetuity. So it just goes to show that we need the proper nutrients every day, and we need to make sure that we're able to get rid of the metabolic waste. So some of the toxins that are out there are things like gluten. Now, there are two things, well, it's a lot to know about gluten, but two main things I want to talk to you about. One is celiac disease. And celiac disease is you can take a test and you can determine whether or not you have celiac disease, which is an autoimmune disease. But then there's another condition, and it's non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And this condition can actually be more dangerous than celiac disease because you don't have the typical symptoms that you would have in celiac disease. So you may not have digestive disorders and all the things that go along with celiac disease, but you could get thyroid disease from it. You can get pregnancy complications. You can get other autoimmune diseases because you are consuming gluten. And the gluten that we have today is way different than what was around 50 years ago. They're completely different products. The seeds that we have today to grow these crops have been hybridized, and anytime we as man mess with the seeds, there's going to be problems. Now, gluten is pretty much like the staple of today's diet. You know, we have bread and we have pastries, and it's in, you know, if you bread any of your vegetables or any of your meats and you cook them, gluten is in a lot of hidden sources. It can be in spices, and they use it so that the spice does not clump together. So making sure that you don't have gluten in your diet is critical. So any type of condition that you might have that you're not sure where it's coming from, definitely try eliminating the gluten. The other thing to know about gluten is that the reaction that your body has, it can have that reaction for up to 6 months. So you can consume a tiny amount of gluten and it can affect your body for up to 6 months. So being 100% gluten-free is imperative, and cleansing your body of the gluten is really important. So eliminate the toxins. There's the dietary toxins that we talked about a little bit. There's the environmental toxins, but also the emotional toxins. So look at what's going on at work. You know, look at what's going on at home. You know, are you setting healthy boundaries? Are you doing something for yourself every day where you can laugh and you can smile and you can enjoy yourself? You know, it's all work and no play is not healthy for you emotionally. So we want to cleanse the body, and there's different detox programs that you can talk to me about, and cleanse the emotions. This is, again, important. I don't think that we as a society put that much emphasis on this, but this is critical. You know, stress kills, and there's, you know, talk that I've done about this, and you've heard that a lot, but if you look at the impact that stress has on your body, you will see that it does kill you. You know, it can cause high triglycerides and high blood pressure, and it can cause a whole host of symptoms. So cleansing the emotions is really important. And then creating that detox lifestyle. So cleansing, especially the body, is really good. But that's not a way to live. We need to create a lifestyle that's going to support a clean body, and making sure that you can eliminate the toxins. And so there's basics that we want to incorporate into every lifestyle. And these are, one, drink plenty of fresh spring water. You want to drink half your weight in ounces every day. Most people are severely dehydrated and they're having all sorts of symptoms. They're having, headaches and things that they don't necessarily associate with dehydration. But drinking half your weight in water is going to help, first of all, it's going to dilute the toxins and it's going to help you eliminate a lot of the metabolic waste. So it flushes out your system. And then your brain health is dependent upon a diet that's rich in healthy fats. And healthy fats does not mean going out and frying up food in vegetable oil. Vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, safflower oil, all of those oils are polyunsaturated. They are toxic to your body. And the process that the food companies use to make these oils look so pretty in the bottle are toxic to us. They use detergent to make the oils that pretty clear, kind of translucent yellow color. So the healthy oils are things like avocados. Avocados are really good for you. Olives, coconuts, and soaked nuts and seeds. And the reason I say soaked is because the seeds have enzyme inhibitors on them. And we want to soak those off and rinse them off and clean off the enzyme inhibitors so we get the benefit of the nuts and the seeds. And then the neurotransmitters. The health of your neurotransmitters is based upon the quality of your proteins. And there's a lot of sources of protein out there. Lentils and quinoa, avocados are a really good source of protein. Leafy greens, and again, the soaked nuts and seeds. Other things are like nut butters and hemp seeds. And hemp seeds are wonderful. Pumpkin seeds are wonderful as well. And even broccoli. So making sure that your protein sources are very high quality. And then our brains are dependent upon a steady source of glucose. That's kind of how the brain operates. And we get glucose from the carbohydrates. So a lot of people, when you mention the word carbohydrate, they start thinking about breads and grains and rice and let's get our carbohydrates. When I talk about carbohydrates, it is the complex carbohydrates, and it is the fresh fruits, especially berries. It is the green leafy vegetables. It's the broccoli, it's the non-starchy vegetables. These are the things that are going to provide that steady source of glucose, and it's a very high quality source of glucose. And this is the stuff that is going to really help your brain, and it's going to level out your glucose levels. Because one of the most dangerous things about the glucose in your blood is we don't want the spikes. The spikes don't benefit you at all. They're detrimental to your health and they're detrimental to your brain. So making sure that we have a steady source of glucose. And so a few other dietary basics. So whatever diet that you subscribe to, whatever it is, these are the basics that we need to employ. The macronutrients, we want to raise the quality of the macronutrients. And the other thing is fiber, making sure we get at least 25 grams of fiber a day. That's going to, again, help with the digestion. Making sure you have a healthy gut, which is your second brain, is going to help your mood, and it's going to help make sure you have a healthy brain. Probiotics and fermented foods are critical because that, again, is going to affect directly your gut health. And then digestive enzymes. This is critical. Most of our foods are depleted, and then if you cook your food, the digestive enzymes or the enzymes in the food are going to be killed. So supplementing with digestive enzymes is critical. And then proper supplementation. A lot of our diets aren't balanced, and we're not getting all of the nutrients. Most of the time we end up eating the same things day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year. And it's really good to start eating, like going to farmer's market, you get what's in season and you get what is grown locally. And you'll notice that the things that are available change from season to season. And you get different nutrients from different foods. So it's really good to start eating that way. When you go to the grocery store, you can get, melons year-round and cucumbers year-round and, whatever it is, you can get these fruits and vegetables year-round. They're shipped in from other places, and what we need is variety. We need to get that variety so that we get the proper nutrients. But again, most of us don't get enough nutrients, and so supplementation ends up being critical. And then creating a diet for your mind and your emotions. Thinking about this, like we think about our diet, we think about what we want to eat, but think about your mind as well, because we're feeding our minds all the time. So monitoring your self-talk. A lot of us, if we monitor the self-talk, we'll find out that it's a little bit destructive. So monitor the self-talk and nurture your mind and nurture your emotions. Eliminate gossip and live in gratitude. And one of the most powerful things is the living in gratitude. So when you sit down to eat, think about, again, gratitude for the person who prepared it. Gratitude, to God for providing that food for you. Gratitude for the people that you're dining with. And then thinking also, like, what do you let in your mind? Are you watching the nightly news all the time? Are you watching movies that are just, violent and shooting and blood and gore? What kind of music are you listening to? I mean, these are all things that your mind feeds on. So thinking about those things and being intentional about it. And then exercise daily. Exercise is really important. If it's just walking, exercise every day. Get your body moving. It helps to, when you get your lungs going and your blood is pumping, it helps to eliminate the toxins. Your lungs are an organ of elimination. And so you are eliminating toxins when you exercise and you're huffing and puffing. And then love. Like I said, have gratitude for the things that you have in your life and focus on that. And focus on love for yourself, focus on love for the other people. And it really does transform your life. And so I have a program where you can learn the power of your food, how to detoxify your body. And I have a little flyer that goes through all the different things that the program will teach you. So we will see you next week. And thank you.